Hi everybody, Jared Johnson with Day Traders FX. Great to be with you all. We've had some excellent movements over the last day or so. We've seen pound pairs move like crazy. We've seen New Zealand pairs move like crazy. We've seen all kinds of things happen. Well, one of my favorite setups is the 15-minute trade. You've heard me talk about the 15-minute trade. You know that it's my favorite setup ever because it's so reliable. It just works so well. We've been watching this Aussie New Zealand. For the last several days it's been coming down, and it got into confirmation territory for us right in this little general area right here. Now our 15-minute trade is such a great setup, and it's very specific. We look for some very specific things to happen, and this one gave us a nice little setup for those specific things that we like. And in fact, we see several of these setups. We had two of them in the last day or so, the Pound Aussie and the Aussie New Zealand. We focused a little bit more on Aussie New Zealand, but the Pound Aussie did the same thing. With a nice clean setup. So we started looking at this, and we saw that it started entering our confirmation zone right around here. And we actually took our first very small entry right around here, about 106.80. We were planning on it to run down into the 106.50 and even 106.25 area, so we entered with a small first position, expecting some drawdown on this. It did continue to kind of work its way a little bit lower here. Here is our actual trade entry right here. You can see on May 8th, we had a nice little run down there. May 8th at 6:30 a.m. Pacific time, we jumped into the Aussie New Zealand at 106.80. Small trade now. We started with a small trade, second order if needed, and we did need it, at 106.25. Our bar count was good. Everything was looking great, and we were looking to target 107.80 as the largest target, but we had a couple other shorter term targets that we were aiming for, and we'll look at that in just a moment. But two entries, small one at 106.80, larger order at 106.25. So we got in our first position right in this little consolidation here, continued to trickle against us. Again, we were planning on that. We added another entry at 106.25, which was right here, right in that general area is where we got into that second position, 106.25. It did continue to go against us just a little bit. 106.25, we saw another 10-12 pips of drawdown there before we had this nice big 150 pip run, which was glorious. Now, you might look at this and say, we got lucky, this was a news announcement, pure luck. Number one, I never sit through news announcements, especially anything interest rate related, because it can be so unpredictable, it can go any which direction. But we knew we had interest rates coming up just about a day or so after we took our entry, and if we would have been worried about it, we wouldn't have taken the entry. But we know that when these 15-minute trades get such high probability like this one was, and they get to that extra extended, Class A type setup, there are different kind of variations of this 15-minute trade setup. Some of them are the more conservative entries, and the further away they go from our setup area, and the closer they get to that extreme kind of movement, the more confidence and the more probability we can get out of these trades. And so right here was conservative setup. It was pretty good, but it wasn't the highest probability that we look for. Here, incredibly high probability setup, and with a lot of confidence we were able to put that extra position on. The news spiked it up, and we made a killing. So several people that have been in the trade group with us and following these trades along, you can see that yesterday on Wednesday I asked how everybody did on the Aussie New Zealand positions. We had some nice entries, 80 pips, 85 pips, 70 pips. We had some that were in for some of the first times here. 129 pips on Aussie New Zealand. Biggest gain ever for me. That is so great, Aubrey. Very nice work on that. And we had just plenty of really nice trade setups. 49 pips. Got some that kind of kept it conservative at 31 pips. You can see that we had a nice little entry there. 142 pips. Keep in mind, if you're in the smallest trade size imaginable, you're not the smallest, but say you're in $1 a pip, that's 142 bucks. This trade course, by the way, costs $49. That's $142 on one trade. $31 on one trade, $49. So if Florence here was in $1 a pip, she paid for the course, and I know she's had plenty of other great trades there. $129. Now keep in mind, with larger trade sizes, this is $400. This is $300. This is You know, a nice big chunk of $1,400. You know, I mean, it just depends on trade sizes, but there were some really great pips that happened from that, and we were able to make some really, really good profits. So if you would like to learn more, see more, find out more about this 15-minute trade, I strongly recommend it. It's such a reliable setup. It doesn't take a news announcement to make this work. It doesn't take a crazy situation to make this work. These set up all the time, and they play out all the time. And there's very, very nice little profits. Just a quick little look here. The Pound Aussie, as I mentioned, did the same thing for us. Pound Aussie on the 15-minute chart started giving us some really good confirmations in this area right here, and it ended up making, some of the members got into this. Our big focus was Aussie New Zealand, but this was exactly the, we have a 3-step process that we look for in these setups, and this was exactly it. We had kind of a nice little triple top here, and it ran down 75 pips and ultimately about 150 pips. It was just a beautiful, nicely played entry. But again, our attention mostly was on the Aussie New Zealand. But both Pound Aussie and Aussie New Zealand both gave us confirmations, and they both gave us great moves. So the 15-minute trade is just about the best thing I've seen. I love it so much. It's giving us some great profits and some great setups on a regular basis. So give it a try. Have a look. You can see right below the video there is an area to get more information on the 15-minute trade. So I hope you'll give it a shot. I think you will love it and be hugely impressed. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you're making some great profits and some great pips. I know that a lot of members in the trade group and those that aren't in the trade group, which by the way you don't need to be in my trade group to make this work, we have a very clear setup, a very clean, clear setup with these kinds of entries, and you need to watch the course and have a look at the material and see how easy and how simple it is to get into some of these trades and make some money. So hopefully everyone is doing that. Have a wonderful morning and a great day. Good luck on your trading. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.